Am I live? Hello. Hello, hello. Apparently I am. Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of winging it today. I haven't really done any much prep really. I just thought I'd come on for a quick bit. I'll probably not be on for too long because Aussie Overlord is starting a stream soon. I'll probably try and jump on and see what he's up to because he's quite fun and he interacts with his chat quite a lot. So I usually like to go on there and try and say something comical. How is everybody? How's everybody doing? Hopefully doing well. I'm feeling pretty good because I've got a little something going on at the end of this week. And it's just that my only surviving grandparent, my granddad, is turning 90. So that's cool. So loads of the family are going to get together. And that side of the family, there's millions of us. We're like rabbits. So we're all meeting up and going to celebrate my granddad's 90th. So that's cool. So I'm really looking forward to that because there's going to be some people from some family from that live in Australia that I've never met. Well, I've met the couple that went over there. I met them when I was about 8 or 9 years old or something. But they've obviously had kids over there who are now in their early 20s, I guess. And yeah, so I've seen them on Facebook and stuff. Never met them in the flesh, and they're giants. They're like 6'7" or something. So that'll be hilarious because I'm quite short. So yeah, it'll be nice to meet them in real life. I think that'll be fun. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's just what's going on in my personal life. See, news-wise, I don't think there's that much going on really, but let me share screen so that I can just see. Well, I'll get the hang of this eventually. Gotta click these buttons here. So, yep, there we go. There we go. So the first thing is, I was just having a quick look through the headlines, and I saw this about the Artemis launch. So I was like, oh yeah. I was keeping an eye on that, and it kept on getting postponed and postponed and postponed. I'd forgotten all about it until I saw the headline. It's like, oh yeah, they're going to actually finally launch this thing, hopefully, because they kept having or finding some kind of issues or fuel leak or something with it, so they had to postpone it. Apparently, it's going to go on Wednesday. I think it said that here. So I'm going to keep an eye out for that. Where did I see it? Where did I see? It did say Wednesday somewhere. The much anticipated Artemis 1 launch is expected to take place this week. This will be the 4th launch attempt. Lol. Well, hopefully it doesn't go bang, and then if that's the case, the delays will be worth it. So, after a number of setbacks, there will be a liftoff from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Here's what we know. Blah 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 blah. The uncrewed moon orbiting mission will be the first test flight of NASA's Artemis program and the first of its Space Launch System rocket and Orion spacecraft. Orion's dress rehearsal around the moon is prelude for a crewed test flight around the moon set for 2024. Okay, that'll be Artemis 2, and then an actual lunar landing in 2025. So I wonder if any of this is reusable then, like Musk's, Elon Musk's stuff. How his booster things, they sort of then, when they're spent, they sort of fall down and guide themselves back down towards a landing thing. I don't know if they do that with Artemis, whether it's just all disposable stuff that they just jettison out into space. I don't know, but it doesn't look like it's the kind of stuff that will come back and be reusable. But I don't know. So if they have got a 2024 and 2025 mission, then I guess they're just making more stuff. But we'll see. Anyway, I've missed it, but I'm sure it said Wednesday somewhere. Oh well. I can't verify that, but I think it's Wednesday. I'll keep an eye out for that. What else? I watched the. Let's get this back here. Hello. I watched the Formula One last night. Caught up on that one, and that was good to watch. It was quite action packed. I think because it's getting near the end of the season, and kind of Verstappen's already won the championship, so everyone's just kind of going for it now. It's just oh well, now it's just for fun, just to try and get those extra points. So it was quite dicey. There was quite a few incidents. Verstappen though was a bit disobeying team orders at the end. They let him pass his teammate. They told the teammate to let him pass so he could have a go at the guy in front to see if he could get past him. And they said, look, there's only a few laps left. If you can't get to it, then swap the place back, which is only fair. And Verstappen's already won the championship, but he just didn't. He didn't. He was sort of. I'm not sure. I haven't read up on like what his arguments were as to disobeying team orders, but that's a bit of a no-no. I mean, I know he's the world champion, so they must be an awkward one for the team because they want him to do well for them, which he's doing, but he also shouldn't be just disobeying their orders, particularly when what does it matter to him if he's already won a championship to miss out on a few points? But like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's still quite young, isn't he? For me, I was just thinking, the sort of the mature thing to do would just be like, okay, then yeah, just swap it back around. Just do the team orders. Why would you not? I don't know, but I'm looking at it from like a 41-year-old's perspective, whereas I think Verstappen, I don't know, what is he, like 21 or something? I don't know, but he's a young lad, and he's obviously he'll have his own reasons, but yeah, if he had a few more years of wisdom, I'd think maybe he'd think, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll just do what they say on this one, be a team player. But interesting race, so I thought it was good. Anyway, that's enough Formula One talk. Let's see what else was in the news. Stuff that was not so much in the news, but like I don't know whether to talk about really or not, because I'll probably just go off on a rant or go on and on for ages. But there are a few subjects that I think about a lot in terms of like where things are going with the future. One of the big ones is central bank digital currencies. I personally see those as being one of the biggest threats to freedom and future for us, our children, children's children. If you want any kind of freedom in the future, so I think digital currencies and like controlled digital currency is the end of freedom, basically. Or it will become that, even if at the beginning it sounds like a great idea and they're like, oh, this will be great, this will be a great way of doing this, that, or the other. It's like, no. Once you can control people's transactions digitally, like, it doesn't end up in a good place eventually. That it will. So that's. I know it's a bit of a downer, but that's just one of the things I don't like the sound of central bank digital currencies whatsoever. I think they're the biggest threat to our freedom. Hello to the one person who's joining me in the chat, by the way. Hopefully you stick around and pop something for me to talk about, or have a chat in the post a comment. We'll have a chat. I think there's about a 30-second delay until you see this, so hopefully you see this and we can have a bit of a chat. What else is going on? The midterm elections in America. Oh, good grief! Still, some places still counting. Nearly a week later, it's ridiculous. It really is. It's like, there are some states that obviously just do it like they've got these different rules, haven't they? All the different states, and some of them are just really good and they get it done, and it's like right there, like on the same night, right? Yeah, we've got the results. This is the person who's won it, right? And then you got places like Arizona. What a joke! It's no wonder people don't trust it. It's like, oh, good grief! So I'm glad we do things a little bit differently in the UK. In fact, where I live, Sunderland, I think they pride themselves on being one of the first to declare. So they have like people running with the boxes and like counting and stuff, and they see it as a sort of a thing of pride and challenge to be the first one of the first ones to declare their results. They used to do it at the leisure centre called the Crow Tree Leisure Centre, which has been demolished now. It's not even there, but they had like a big area there, which I guess they use for, I don't know, badminton or whatever it is. It was a big multi-purpose room, I think. And they used to always have them there with all the tables and the boxes and people running about, like, it was quite the thing where they would try and be the quickest. I think Arizona's going to try and be the slowest. I think they're going for the who can be the slowest to declare. Like 50,000 votes a day, and we'll give you one update a day. We'll maybe tell you in a couple of weeks who's won. If I was living there, I'd be like, this is BS. I don't trust any of this. Especially after some of the things I've seen in the last couple of years. But anyway, let's not go there, eh? Let's not go there on YouTube. So yeah, what else? But yeah, the central bank digital currency thing, I very much dislike where that's going. And unfortunately, our new dear leader, Mr. Sunak, I've seen video footage of him from like over a year ago, going on about how this is what they want to do with the future and how great they are, and like now he's the one in power, and he just happens to be a World Economic Forum person. So it's like it didn't really matter who gets in; they're all going down that same route, I think. Yeah, I don't want to sound too much of a downer on it. It's just I've got various beliefs about certain things that are going to happen in the future. But if possible, if any of that could be delayed, great. I would love it to be delayed. But certain things are inevitable, in my opinion. And that kind of totalitarian control will be here at some point. Whether that's part of it or the way it comes in, but they're talking about linking your personalized sort of credit. Sorry, what do you call it? Carbon amount to your transactions and all that kind of stuff. It's like, right, as soon as that happens, that's the end of your freedoms. So, yep, hopefully there are ways to delay or resist, but I don't know. Yeah, I better change the subject, something more cheery. I'm usually quite a cheery person. Oh, hello, person in the chat. Who we got? Robert Ingram. Fetterman versus. Oh, actually, I can show this, can't I? Oh, yeah, StreamYard. Wait, maybe. Fetterman versus Oz makes ours look sensible. No, no to central control of most things. Yes, amen. I agree with you. I'm also not a fan of too much centralized power. I don't like it in general. I'd prefer the government to be sort of small and leave us the hell alone to get on with our lives. And yeah, well, I'm okay with paying taxes for certain things like the street lights, the bins getting emptied. You know, here in the UK, we've got the NHS for the hospitals and stuff. There's a certain amount that I don't mind giving up a percentage of my wages to keep certain things in the country running. We've got to have fire brigades, police force. You know, but I want it to be minimal. Basically, the rest of it we should be left alone to get on, and the open market and commerce and private company kind of ingenuity will basically generally take care of the rest and improve people's lives and provide the products and services that people need. Yeah, Fetterman, good grief. Do they really look and think this is the guy for us? This guy that can barely put a sentence together. This guy who's, I mean, it's not his fault that he's had a stroke and stuff. Yeah, fine, but um, yeah, I've not followed it too much, but I just look at some of the things and I'm like, this is really the person you want you want to choose. But hey, if you want to choose him, you get what you vote for. You get what you deserve. I don't know, but I'm always a fan of give people a chance. I don't write somebody off until let's see what they do. I mean, who knows? Maybe he could go against the Democratic Party lines and actually try and push through some really good legislation. Who knows? He could surprise us all. I just doubt it. But it's like when Johnson was first in charge, and loads of people were going like, "Oh no, it's going to be awful. It's going to be terrible." And I was like, well, let's just wait and see. He's only been in 5 minutes. Let's see what he does. Yeah, it turns out it wasn't that great, but at least he had the potential. You never know when somebody first gets into power. You don't really know, what they might do. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I always thought that Biden was going to be terrible, but I thought, let's see what he does. But on day one, he like axed 50,000 jobs and got rid of like a really important like oil pipeline. I was like, well, that was a dumb move. And then there was something that Trump had put in place to make sure that insulin prices weren't overinflated and stuff. And he axed that as well with an executive order. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, just you shouldn't just get rid of every single thing he did because some of those things were good. you know? But like, oh man, he's almost like he's trying to destroy the country. Well, I say him, it's not him, is it really? He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know what day of the week it is. It's especially when he says something and then his administration have to walk it back the next day and go, "Oh, he didn't mean that." Like the thing about Taiwan. It's like, who's president really? Who's the guy behind the scenes pulling the strings or telling him what to say? Because that guy, I mean, I know the media try and hide it, but when you see enough clips of him actually talking, it's like this guy doesn't know where he is. They must pump him up with some drugs or something maybe, and then to get a coherent sentence out of him, and that's the bit they'll clip for the media. So Robert, I saw your laughy face there. What was it you were laughing at? Was it the Boris stuff or the Fetterman stuff? I don't know. It's nice to see you. I don't think you've had a chat on my channel before, so please stick another comment in because I love talking to the chat. Um, just trying to see while I'm waiting to see if you write anything else. I'm just gonna have a quick look and see if there's anything else going on with the news. Let's see if I can share screen. Nope, I always press the wrong one. There we go. How do I get it on the side then? Weird. All right, that'll do. What do we got? What have we got? Nothing much. Oh, hang on. Comment coming in. What we got here? Oh, you're laughing at the Joe Biden stuff. Yeah, someone seems to be wanting to bankrupt the West in the last 2 years. Laughing at Joe Biden. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there. I mean, I'd probably be branded a conspiracy theorist and told to go and get my tinfoil hat, but I kind of get the feeling that it is a planned takedown of the West. I don't know if you're familiar with the sort of the aims of the World Economic Forum with their sort of 2030 agenda thing of like you'll own nothing and you'll be happy and you'll just rent stuff from. That's the weird thing about that video. I don't know if you've seen it, but they've scrubbed the video now. But I saw it before it got scrubbed. People have obviously recorded it. But there's that one bit where they're saying you'll own nothing and you'll be happy and you'll just rent the things that you need. I was like, well, hang on a minute. If we don't own anything and we rent the things we need, where are we renting them from? Somebody has to own those things. Oh, it's you, is it? It's all you people, all the World Economic Forum elite people, Klaus Schwab and Jacinda Ardern and Justin Trudeau, and they're all part of the same thing. I mean, I knew we in the UK were knackered because Boris Johnson was part of the World Economic Forum, as was Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak. So it doesn't matter who we get in charge; they're all on the same page. I'm just curious: are you in the UK or are you from America or whereabouts are you from there, Robert, Mr. Ingram? I'd be curious to know. But sorry, I've derailed myself. I always do that. I always derail my thoughts. It was about I'd probably be branded a conspiracy theorist. My thoughts on that they want to kind of destroy the system of the West because I think ultimately they want kind of a one world government and people to be dependent on the state. Scotland. Oh, hey, how you doing? I've got some Scottish family and stuff. In fact, we just during summer we went up to Cumbernauld to see my stepbrother who lives up there and his family. So that's cool. I'm not actually that far from Scotland, to be honest. I'm in the northeast, so yeah, nice one. Although you poor guys have got some even more stringent, ridiculous hate speech laws and stuff than we've got even here in the UK. I mean, that was a stupid, but was it Humza Yousaf managed to push through some really weird stuff like if you're in home having a chat with your family around the dinner table and you said something or some joke that one of them found a bit offensive or whatever, they can shop you into the government or something. I was like, what? And it's actually a criminal offence. Don't get me started. I wonder if you're familiar with Count Dankula or what your thoughts are on him. I love that guy. He's hilarious. But yeah, I'm generally against any sort of erosion or taking away of freedoms. Sort of heading towards like wrong think and things like that, or being punished for wrong thoughts or wrong postings online and all that nonsense. That we've already got the laws set in place for what is actually illegal. Like calls to violence, targeted violent threats against people, exposing sensitive information that's legally sensitive, like medical information and stuff like that. We've got all the laws to deal with that already. They're already in place. Doesn't need expanded, but yet they keep on expanding and expanding to the point where it's going to be like, I just give an opinion and that'll be, oh, you're off to jail for you, son. And yeah, I wonder where it. Well, I've got an idea of where it's heading because of. See, my thinking is skewed by my particular religious beliefs to do with end times. So I sort of look at things and think, yeah, this is actually heading the way, because of my beliefs where I think it's going to go. So, but I'd like to be open-minded enough to say, I might be wrong on that. This might just be a temporary thing. Might go, that stuff I'm thinking about might be 100 years in the future, 1,000 years in the future, um, and this might, maybe things might go back towards the way of freedom. I don't know. There's a subject that could open up a whole avenue of different rabbit holes to go down, depending on if you're into that or conspiracy theories or any of that kind of stuff. But that's why I get into this whole kind of thing of like, I think that there's more behind the scenes that are above governments that sort of pulling the strings, and we know that from the World Economic Forum. They're not even hiding it anymore. Things that before would have taken like a decade's worth of investigative journalism to find out. Now they're just openly saying, they're just like, mask off. We'll just tell the world. They've got the website. They've got Klaus Schwab on the stage being interviewed, saying, yes, we penetrate the cabinets. We now have over 50% of the Canadian MPs are all on board with us. And like, I'm like, what? you know? Let me just have a quick look at what you've seen here. You don't know Count Dankula, Hollywood. I always have to say this wrong. Is it Hollywood? Hollywood. Overreach fits with young men dreaming dreams and seeking to change the times in the Bible. Young men dreaming dreams and seeking to change times in the Bible. Now, the young men dreaming dreams, is that Joel? No. Oh, that's to do with end times, isn't it? The young men will dream dreams. No, your old men would. Young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. God will pour out His Spirit on all flesh, and you will prophesy. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong there. But anyway, Count Dankula he's a funny Scottish guy who he's the Nazi pug bloke. He for a joke, because he was trying to wind up his girlfriend. She had a little pug, little cute dog, and he thought, I know what I'll do. I'll take this cute thing and teach it to do a horrible thing. And he taught it to do the Nazi salute when he said certain words and things. Which to me, because I've got a twisted sense of humor, I just found that hilarious, because I saw it for the joke that it was. He was, in fact, the only way it works. He obviously wasn't serious. He was pointing fun at the Nazis by basically saying, "These are the evil people, so I'll take the cute thing and make it do the bad thing. That's the joke, to wind up my girlfriend." And it went viral, and then everybody was attacking him, and he ended up getting fined £800, and he didn't even want to pay it, because he was like, "No, like, I haven't done anything actually illegal." All right, I do. Hang on, let me see. Saluted, I remember. Oh, do you mean about Dank? So have you heard of him? But yeah, that's the guy basically. I think his real name is Mark Meacham. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but he does his own videos on YouTube and stuff, which are quite good actually. He's quite funny. He sometimes does little mini documentary type things about people. Like he did one on Andre the Giant. He did one on the Killdozer guy. He did one on. He's done all sorts. But yeah, he's good fun, and you can just kind of tell from that kind of stuff that he's not actually like some Nazi. It's like, that's ridiculous. But in fact, there was a funny interview. He got interviewed by Viva Frei and Robert Barnes, as a Canadian lawyer and an American lawyer, and he was telling his story to them and stuff. And he was joking about, like, when he was in the cells and then ready to with other prisoners about to sort of go and appear in front of the judge for the first bit, the charge or whatever it is, where you say guilty or not guilty. He said it was mad, because there was these people that, like, they were in there for really serious crimes. Like, I think one of them was actually a murder or something, or another one was like a large possession of drugs and stuff like that. And they were like, "What are you in for?" It was like, I, I made a daft video, like a meme. It was weird. It's ridiculous, but this is the world we're living in. But I'm interested about something about this comment you put here, Robert, and you mentioned the Bible. And if you don't mind talking about it or saying so, do you have any particular thoughts on biblical stuff or future or prophecy or anything like that? Oh, hang on, a new comment from you. Bring the dog to the witness box. I love it. Yeah, see, that's the thing. You see, Dankula got all the flack for this and the £800 fine, and he was in jail for a bit and stuff like that. But he wasn't the racist, or sorry, he well, not racist. He wasn't the Nazi one, was he? It was the dog, right? Lock the dog up, right? Dank was just talking, and the dog was doing the salute. Just saying. Oh man, it was funny though. But how anybody could take that seriously is beyond me. See, this is the problem. See, the way the law is written is that, I mean, in my opinion, there should be no such thing as a hate law, right? Or hate speech. There is no such thing as hate speech. There's only speech that you hate. Like a call to violence or call to action for violence is different. That's there's specific law for that. But the where it gets you on in the UK is Section 127 of the Communications Act. There's a thing about anything that's deemed grossly offensive, like if you post online something that's grossly offensive. See, that's subjective, isn't it? What's grossly offensive to you, I might think, well, that's fine. I'm not that bothered. Or what, you know what I mean? So it all comes down to what the judge thinks, which particular judge you get. So with Dankula's case, it was a case of if that judge, even though it was clearly a joke and they gave out their case about what was going on, he just deemed that no, this was grossly offensive, so guilty. Douche. £800 fine. And then he was just like, yep, I'm not going to pay it. I really like his sort of spirit. He was basically like, no, I've done nothing wrong. You will not get the money from me. I will serve the time in prison if I have to for this ridiculousness and show you up on the world stage for how ridiculous you are. And because they didn't want that, that kind of bad press, the police, they just went in and seized the money from his bank account and said, "Oh, that's it, sorted. You paid your fine. That's done." Which I think is something that they can legally do, but they're supposed to give you notice of it. But for him, they just didn't give the notice. They were just like, "We need to get rid of this because this is not looking good." On the Scottish police, it was getting worse and worse for how it looked for them. So they just like whipped £800 out of his account and then went, "That's it. We're done. You're free." Um, which to me is just disgraceful. He should have the ability to just refuse and say to the state, "No, I will not pay you. If you think I've done a wrong when I don't, then I'm willing to go to prison for a bit." But I like that kind of defiance. Kind of reminds me of the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in front of Nebuchadnezzar, and like he's telling them to, when this music plays at a certain time of the day, you will worship the statue, and everybody else is bowing down. They're just like, nope, not doing it. No, that's one of the most powerful words in the English language, isn't it? They say it's just the word no, and a lot more people should just say no when something's ridiculous. There's ridiculous ideology or ridiculous pressure from even from friends and family or society or governments to do things that are just within you are wrong. Just no. Just my answer is no. So yeah, I quite like that about Count Dankula. But they just went in and robbed his money anyway. Ridiculous. Man, actually, I'm quite impressed because what's it coming up for nearly half an hour now chatting on here. Robert, thank you so much for being part of this chat. That's made that really enjoyable. I'm probably going to bow out though. I might try and catch Aussie Overlord, some of his streams, see what he's up to. I've got a few other things to do as well, and yeah, just I hope you have a really good evening. So I was going to say, yeah, you're in Scotland, so you're on the same time frame as myself. Well, hang on, what are you saying? Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That'll be easier for them with central bank digital currencies. Stand for your belief, though. Yeah, I'm getting to the point where I'm having to start trying to think how I can prepare. I have to be prepared for if I end up being where I can't be part of society as a Christian in terms of won't have the ability to buy or sell. That might be cut off from me at some point. And I don't think it'll be as long away as people think. I mean, I think the plans were for central bank digital currencies are coming in by 2027. There was some rollout of the European digital euro stuff that's going to start next year, and then I think by 2026 going to go proper. This is a weird thing. There's lots of stuff going on behind the scenes from different organizations and stuff around the world, but it's all coordinated at the same time. There's the strings, some pulling the strings. Yeah, so I hope it lasts longer, but I'm starting to think in my mind by 2027, as soon as the central bank digital currencies come in, that's me knackered. Although the thing is, it's not necessarily when they start. That's not necessarily. It might be a little bit after they actually start before they get more restrictive and saying, pulling in the rules. If you know your Bible, you'll know the thing I'm more concerned about is something called the mark of the beast in Revelation 13, which is a little bit different, but I think it might be linked. That's not just about, it's linked to buying and selling. You can't buy and sell without this thing. But there's a bit more to it than that. It's not just a commerce thing. Yes, you're absolutely right. We must be separate, a peculiar people. Yes, yeah, you know your Bible. Yeah, we're the ecclesia. I forget what the Greek word is, but it basically means the called out ones, which means the same, separate, a peculiar people. So we're in the world, but we're not of it. And I think it's going to be over the next few years might be crunch time where the kind of pressure's on, and we sort of have to show that yes, we don't comply because we're not of this world. There's been the persecutions of believers from day one of Christ, really, but we kind of been shielded from it here in the West. There are other countries where, if I was talking about my beliefs and stuff with people, I would just be instantly carted off to prison or executed or whatever. So I've had it lucky, well, not lucky, but blessed, I suppose, here to live in this country. But I don't want to be so naive as to think that it can't come here, because I think eventually it will be everywhere. If I'm looking at Revelation, I'm thinking it's going to be worldwide eventually. I guess everybody kind of hopes that it won't come to their doorstep, but it's just something as a believer I feel I'll be prepared to be ready to face. So you've hit the nail on the head there. We are called to be separate, a peculiar people. People are supposed to look at us and think, what is it that's different about them? There's something different about them. It should be in a positive way. It seems like a beast system has begun. Yeah. One interesting thought on that as well. I used to always think about the beast system and eventually the beast coming in, the Antichrist. But it was only till recently that I was watching somebody doing a study on Revelation, and they showed me something that I thought, oh, actually, I never thought of that. And that's that the harlot system seems to be in place before the beast takes over it. The harlot rides the beast, and then eventually the beast throws her off, and the beast takes over. So the kind of system ready for the beast is kind of in place first, the harlot system. And there's different thoughts on what the harlot system is. One that I thought was quite an interesting take on it was that it's been around since the Tower of Babel, or Babel, however you pronounce it. And that although God separated the peoples and the languages and confused it and delayed basically that effect of the kind of what do you call it, the harlot system kind of, what they were looking to do, he didn't fully judge it at that point. So it's always kind of been around, and it's sort of starting to consolidate power again now. You got things like the EU. There's some stuff about CERN which might be dodgy, but certainly like the EU trying to pull more centralized power. People talking openly about a new UN. A lot of stuff like trying to become again more like towards one world government. It's a bit more like the days of the Tower of Babel again. And I think that that harlot system is something to watch out for, because from when I look at Revelation, the harlot is the one that is drunk with the blood of the saints. So the harlot system might be the one that actually persecutes and kills most of the Christians before the beast even comes on the scene or takes over. So that might actually be the bigger threat to Christians, is the harlot system rather than the beast. Because when the Antichrist comes onto the scene, for the last 42 months of like him being in power, most of people like me might already be dead. So yeah, maybe, maybe I should focus on the right place. And I just thought that was an interesting take. So I was like, oh yeah, maybe. Because most Christians that look at that stuff, eschatology or Revelation, always tend to focus on the mark of the beast and the beast kingdom and that bit. But it was like, but the harlot system that leads up to that might be the bigger danger. So just food for thought. Don't know what your thoughts are on that. Oh, let's have a look. New comment. Divine feminist rubbish too. Women and kids are ruling over grown men. Yep. Do you mean in sort of terms of like managers and stuff, like in workplaces? Quite a lot of managers tend to be women. Not quite sure what you mean with that. If you could elaborate on that a little bit more, that'd be good. The divine feminine, like what was that? Do you mean like Mother Earth type stuff and that kind of idol worship, or what was it? Which was the feminine god thing? I'm drawing a blank. But I suppose that's a disruption of, when you say like kids ruling over grown men or women, it's a kind of a disruption of like the way that God had set things up, I guess. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff going on nowadays, which is completely just everything backwards. When they call good evil and evil good, we're kind of in those days already, really. Yeah, I think. Oh my! I'm starting to think. Should I go off into the subject? There's all sorts of stuff I could talk about here about end times to do with what it was like in Genesis 6 in the days of Noah, and was there? It says about the corruption of flesh. Was there kind of some genetic manipulation stuff going on there? Is that we're starting to mess on with that now, and things that we probably shouldn't? Is that going to play a part? And I don't know. I'd be interested to know what your thoughts are. Me personally, I'm kind of wondering whether all the end time stuff before the return of Christ is going to be by about 2031 potentially, on a sort of timeline that I'm looking at. But again, that's not set in stone. I always just speculate and say I never set dates or anything. I'm just looking at the stuff going on in the world and wondering about these things because I find them interesting. But yeah, there are a few things that might fit with that. The central bank digital currency thing for me is something that is a bit of a concern because I can kind of see where it's going. But yeah, any thoughts you've got on any of that? Well, I'd be interested to chat about. I'll just give it a few seconds. I know there's a delay. I wonder as well where you found my channel from. Are you a new subscriber, or did you come over from Aussie Overlord the other night, or have you been subscribed a while? I'm just curious because obviously we've not had a chat before, and it's nice to be chatting with you on this stream. Yeah. Just while I'm waiting to see if you respond, let me just see if there's anything else in the news that grabs my attention. Oh yeah, this was corrupt as out. Have you heard about this thing? The cryptocurrency dude, the FTX, I think was like a crypto exchange thing, I think, a bit like Coinbase or something. And hang on, I've got a new comment. Let's see. Rulers of the earth are definitely trying to overtake the Most High. Ragnar played your video. Oh, you're from Ragnar. Nice one. Cool. Yeah. I wouldn't mind having a go on having a chat with them at some point. But I'm quite new to the software. This StreamYard. I haven't even ever been on anybody else's podcast or anything yet, or stream to have a chat. So hopefully I could do that at some point. Yeah, wonder which video. Oh, he played my 500 miles video. Yeah, I mean that's how I started out on YouTube, was just dancing around in my biker leathers just for a joke, just for a laugh, just because why not? But just more recently, I've started doing some streams and just chatting about stuff like the news and things like that. But yeah, they're trying to overtake. It's kind of funny to me because I know that they think they're going to end up ruling, and when Christ comes back, it says, particularly in terms of the Antichrist and what he tries to do, he's just destroyed by the breath of his mouth. I mean, Christ just basically just has to go and destroy them all. It's crazy how they think. I think a lot of these kind of world leader types, they must get sucked into kind of some kind of thing where they think that they're going to be in power like long term. It's like you're really not. They don't realize that they're just being used. I tell you what, something I would love to know more on the conspiracy side of things is like a lot of these world leaders, like or big sort of political people of a certain persuasion, always tend to end up going to Antarctica for visits. Like John Kerry, Jacinda Ardern went recently. I think Biden's been. A lot of these big leaders tend to end up going to Antarctica, and I'd love to know what they're doing there. I mean, I don't think I'll ever be told, obviously, but because they've got quite a sort of military presence there and scientific research and things like that. It's like, why do they all keep going there? Why do they all go and visit? What are they seeing? Why is it so secretive and military? Like, what's going on there? I'd love to know what's going on there. But there's a whole nother rabbit hole that people can go down. Yeah, no idea. But what was I saying about this crypto thing? Yeah, so it turns out it was a bit like a sort of Ponzi scheme thing where people were just investing money and this guy was making out it was a good thing, but then he was then donating loads of money back to Democrats in America and stuff like that, and now they've gone bust. But this is the dude, Sam Bankman. I only heard about him the last sort of few days, but it's all come out. But yeah, definitely some dodgy dealings were going on there. Very dodgy. Right, there we go. Right, I really am going to have to end it here. It's been really nice having a chat with you, but what we're coming up to now, 42 minutes. I have got some stuff I've got to go and do, so hopefully I'll catch you in the future. Robert, it's very, very nice having a chat with you. You have a great evening, and I'll keep an eye out for you. All right, everybody, see you all later. Bye.